welcome everyone to the first official Screamcast episode of the year of 2019. It's episode 160. Oh shit, you guys did, it's episode 166. You guys did an episode without me. God damn it. I am Sean DeRager. And with me, Brad Henderson and Stephanie Crawford. Welcome. Welcome
unofficial,
to the first official episode, everybody, of
to the Screamcast. The unofficial Stephanie Crawford and the unofficial Brad Henderson.
I basically
the chopped meat, if you will.
Yeah.
I basically am being a jerk. You guys did an episode without me earlier in the last month, and that was fine. That was awesome. I have no hard feelings whatsoever. It's I may just step aside. I see. I can't even talk now. I might as well just step aside and just quit.
I mean, you could mute yourself right now, and then Steph and I can just,
I mean, I understand that's hard for you to talk when you're not getting paid to now,
exactly. So. Yes.
I get it.
That is true. So anyway, well, we are all three together for the first time this year, and it feels pretty damn good. Is really what I'm trying to say. All kidding aside, I have missed podcasting. So I have been doing. As some of you know, the Club Scum members, of course, know because I won't shut up about it. But
no, you haven't.
You may not realize from the podcast that I do voiceover stuff and I do audiobook narration. I'm stumbly and mumbly on the podcast, but I actually, if there's money involved, I can actually turn up the professionalism and put out a pretty good product, if I do say so myself. So
I'll give you $1.
So I've been kind of building that
I like how
business.
Quickly he'll treat you like a cheap whore. I'll give you $1.
So I've been trying to build that business and doing all that, and so I appreciate everyone's patience as I've been doing that. But goddamn, I have missed talking to Stephanie and Brad, so this feels good.
Oh, you said my name first.
Of course.
Well, I can speak for Brad. We're both very proud of you, and we can be your second favorite. That's okay.
Okay. All right. So I do have there are some audiobooks out there with my name on them. You just go to Audible, search Sean DeRager as a narrator, and find there's one horror story called The Haunting of Mercer House, and then a fantasy story called Realmbound. And then I'm doing some bullshit. But there is one book that Club Scum members, I think all of you will qualify for codes. It's called The Fetishists, and you guys are going to love this book. So I'll be narrating that soon, and I'll be giving that away to Club Scum members if I have enough codes. But that one is by an author, A.S. Coomer, and it's a really fucked up little book, and I cannot wait to narrate it. So anyway, that's what's enough about me. We're going to do...
Have you checked your phone yet, Sean?
No, I have not. Did you text
phone.
me? Did you text me?
I got you something there.
What? What are you talking about?
Sent you $1 on PayPal.
Oh, shit. Thank you. Holy shit.
So you just got paid for this episode.
What the hell? I'm not going to work for free.
Oh, no.
All right. Professional Sean is on. I am on the job. What's up, everybody? This is episode 166 of the Screamcast, brought to you by Brad Henderson's Dollar.
Wow. All right. Let's definitely go first.
All right. Well, we haven't let everyone know what we're doing. So we're going to do today.
Are we just talking about movies? We're
going to talk about some movies. We're doing another What's on Your Doorstep episode. We are going to kind of try to do to change things up with the format. And I think this way we'll be able to kind of get some consistent podcast out, at least 2 a month. But we'll be doing a What's on Your Doorstep episode, and then the next episode will be followed by kind of a themed episode. So this episode we'll be doing a What's on Your Doorstep. Next episode, and we're doing this just because I dropped the ball and I haven't been able to watch everything. But we are doing. We haven't thought of a name of it yet, but it's an un episode. It's we're gonna be talking about the unborn and the unnameable movies, series, at least them and their sequels. So that'll be really fun. So we're gearing up for that. That'll be coming soon. But today we're just gonna be telling you guys about shit we've been watching, stuff that's landing on our doorstep. So we're gonna jump into that right now. Into what's on our doorstep. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do right now. Right now is what we're gonna do.
Prove it.
This is where I'm gonna edit out and just put the theme song in. All right, are we gonna do round robin style, or are we just gonna lump it with each of us? What do you guys want to do? I like the round robin style because it kind of keeps me from falling asleep when Brad goes into his 50 movies. But whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, let's do round robin.
I got a text that it's snowing right now.
Fuck snow.
I live in Las Vegas. There is no fuck snow here. The last time it snowed, it was like 2006.
Wow.
You going outside?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Fuckity fuck snow. That's all I gotta say.
Wow.
No,
all right, who's going
just
first?
rain here. Ow.
Stephanie, would you like to go first? Should Brad go first?
No,
Let's
I'm
take
on
a look at the
strike
snow.
because I'm not getting paid.
Can I send you an official Screamcast sticker?
You already have. I have like every sticker.
Damn it.
And you know what? I tried to pay the rent with it. And it didn't work.
Fuck. Okay, sorry. So, Brad, would you like to start?
Sure. I'll go first. First up, we have I was really happy with this flick. It is called The Standoff at Sparrow Creek. It is directed by Henry Dunham, which I am pretty excited what else this dude has to do. Basically, the film, it's about an ex-cop who hears a shooting in the distance, lots of gunfire and some explosions. And he runs to a kind of a warehouse, and all these other people are showing up, and you find out that they're part of a militia in town, and they have kind of a warehouse full of gear, bulletproof vests, grenades, assault rifles, and they just want to take an account of what weapons they have and to make sure that one of them didn't do this shooting. And what happens is that on the radio, they hear that someone opened fire at a police funeral, shooting many police officers in the process and got away. So the standoff is these members of this militia group who go to, like I said, their little hideout, and they realize that there's a vest, there's ammo, there's a gun, and a couple grenades that are missing. And they all don't want to get blamed for this, terrorist attack, basically. So they interrogate each other. It is fucking great. Like, it's just a kind of a one location interrogation of these these kind of radicals in a way. So it's very, very interesting, and it's very exciting for not having an actual standoff. The standoff is basically interrogation, but it's very tense, it's very tight, it moves very smoothly, and it packs quite a few surprises. And the editing and the sound, not sound design, but just the score and everything, it's really, really well done. It's a really great movie, so awesome. Highly recommend it. Runs pretty smooth. Like I said, I think it's fairly short. Yeah, it's like 90 minutes. RLJ put it out, and yeah, it's pretty good. I don't think there's any special features on it though.
What's it called?
The Standoff at Sparrow Creek.
Sweet.
That sounds so much like a Twilight Zone episode.
It has a couple things that reminiscent of the 70s, but other than that, like I said, it's just kind of a one location thriller. So definitely check it out.
Nice. Stephanie, how about you?
Go ahead.
Wow. Okay. I don't. So, I'm trying to figure out where to start, but I
You want
have
me to go again?
no.
I mean,
I'm looking through my stack here. So, the movie I wanted to mention was I watched this with my kids. It's been trying to find, like, my daughter is always asking for, kind of horror movies or scary movies to watch. And of course, it makes things difficult because we have a 6-year-old, then we have an 11-year-old, and then my daughter's 13. But she got to watch her first Eli Roth movie that's starring Jack Black, of all people, called The House with a Clock in Its Walls. And this is kind of a kid-centric kind of,
it's fine.
gothic house film. And I really dug it. I think it's a strong effort from Eli Roth. I was pretty surprised, that he directed this. Looks like it's I don't know, I think he has chops, but I think if it's a movie that maybe hasn't written or not. I don't know. I don't know if he was a hired gun for this one or not, but I really had a good time with it with the family, and really well done. Jack Black wasn't too annoying in it. Cate Blanchett is gorgeous, and she does not age ever. But it was a fun little kind of I don't know. It's not like a horror film per se, but it's a kind of a gothic, dark-ish, family film, I guess you can say. Have you guys, any of you seen it at all?
Yeah, it's fine.
I haven't.
It's serviceable.
Serviceable.
I saw the CGI Jack Black baby though, and that seems like a horror movie to me.
Yeah, probably. But no, I mean, did he write? I don't think he wrote this. Yeah, so I think this was he was a hired gun director for this sucker, and he did a great job. So I guess that means Eli Roth, maybe hire him as a director of your film and don't really have him write, maybe.
I don't think it's that. I think Eli Roth had a there was a few films, and I found out later on, I think during the production of like the fourth one, they actually had like a grant, I think, from the country that they were filming in, and they made all these films in the span of like, just 5 years. They made The Stranger, they made Aftershock, Green Inferno. It was him and another guy that worked together, and Knock Knock, I think, was one of them too. Okay. They made all these films like back to back to back to back, and I feel that they didn't really have the time to craft. Because I think, like, I know we give Eli Roth shit. I give Eli Roth shit all the time, but he's a very smart guy. He knows horror. He knows what's scary. He's very knowledgeable. Mm-hmm. And I believe he can. I think he's a competent director. I love Cabin Fever. I love the two Hostel films that he did. But I think he kind of got in this groove to kind of Robert Rodriguez it, which Robert Rodriguez did the exact same thing, where he just made like shit for like 5 years and then finally got out of it and was kind of getting back to his roots. I haven't seen Alita yet, but I think he had this kind of just, I'm going to make movies quick. I can do it cheap, and there we go. And maybe they have these ideas, and they don't want to maybe spend a lot of time and money on them, so they just kind of put them out there and for their like hardcore fan base. And I think that's kind of what he did. And I think he lost traction. I think with this and some of the other stuff that he's working on, he's going to get back on track. And I think we're going to probably see some decent stuff from him. I'm not going to say he's like, revolution of cinema or anything or horror, but I think he's a competent director. He knows what he's doing. I just don't like the majority of films that he's made or written and produced.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that I love hearing him talk about movies. And I think like he has it in him, but yeah, I was wondered why we'd seen such a low quality output from him. But like these long names here, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, it's a very solid film, and it's not I don't know, it feels right in line with all these others. There's all these other kind of kid-friendly horror movies or scary movies or
yeah. Well, I think it kind of got mixed in with Goosebumps. Jack Black, and the cover was kind of
Mm-hmm.
similar. I think it just kind of fell by the wayside.
Which is a mistake. I think Jack Black is actually pretty good in it. He's not doing the whole Jack Black shtick as much. He kind of is, but yeah. All right, moving along. Moving along.
We're just gonna say skip me, and it's gonna go back to me, or
Yeah, do you guys not understand what I'm on strike means?
You're not on strike. Come on.
All right. I am going to go to a recent discovery thanks to Seven Films. And I recently watched and very much enjoyed Skinner.
Ooh.
Starring Ted Raimi, who I adore. I've always liked, I'm a big slapstick fan, and I love the Evil Dead series. I think I might be the only torch holder here for that. And just hearing about him being a completely dark character really intrigued me. And there's such a sleazy backstory to this entire movie. I was really interested. But basically, we open up with Ricki Lake, and she's just a really sweet, normal person. She's renting out a room, and Ted Raimi shows up. It's Ted Raimi, who just has one of the most open, friendly faces. So she rents out the room to him. And then we kind of have a B plot with Tracy Lords, who hides her face a lot. She has a lot of scarring all over her body, and she's kind of on a dark vengeance mission. And then we find out how the stories are connected, and it's this great slow opening where we establish all the characters, and next thing you know, there's people running through the street wearing people's skins in a racist way, and some of the nastiest gore I've ever seen. And this thing is very low budget, and the gore is done incredibly well. But you know those films where they don't have a big budget, the film's a little grainy, but you have really talented people working on it, and that combination makes it extra sick?
Nice.
That's Skinner. It just feels more realistic in a way. And Ted Raimi was perfect for this role because he's disarming. Sometimes they'll show, it's not a spoiler, say he's a serial killer. It's all over the box. Sometimes the killer, when they're supposed to convince the characters in the film, you're like, no one's gonna fall for that. He's like licking a knife while he talks to them. Like, they're not gonna let them into their home. Ted Raimi, I would let him in. I'd be dead. But he builds the insanity with a little bit of humor. It's so good. And I'm not going to give away the ending, but it includes this great speech that's just on the edge of a little too absurd, but they make it work. So I think if you want like something very serious, just very realistic, I think the way this builds might throw you off a little bit, might not be your thing. But if you're kind of in the mood for a kitchen sink approach with, I'm sorry, like Ted Raimi, Tracy Lords, Ricki Lake, all in one movie.
Yeah.
To me, that's irresistible. And I just thought it was fantastic. I had never even heard of this movie before the Blu-ray was released. And the extras are really interesting. And yeah, no, I had a hell of a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, Skinner's one of those movies that director did that actually kind of gained traction. He was like a TV movie director for a long time, and then he got into like softcore porn before he died, and he was making stuff for like Skinemax or something. But yeah, he's very odd at picking his actors and then the roles they play, because he picked Gary Coleman to be in this movie one time, and it's this like drama thriller. he plays like a kid that he plays a Gary Coleman plays a teenager, and he's like burning down buildings and shit. It's called like Fire or something, Fireman. I don't know. And then he has this movie. God, I used to watch it with my grandmother. She taped it off television, and it was called Deadly Intruder or Intruder. Something of Sally Struthers was the lead in it. And she's like left home alone, and this intruder breaks in, and she's got to fight for her life. And his director's name's Ivan.
Like Nagy.
Yeah. Ivan Nagy, Nagy, I think maybe.
Yeah.
He's just an odd guy, like a very quirky sense. I've watched some of his other films. He also had Deadly Hero. I think that's out on Blu-ray from Code Red. It's a like a cop movie too. It's just a very weird guy, quirky guy, and I wish he made more. It's like if Adam Rifkin and John Waters made a movie together. That's kind of how it feels.
Scratched an itch for me. Because leading up to it, I just heard sleazy. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready for sleazy. But it had a crazy sense of humor, and it really appealed to me. I'm like, yes.
It's a lot of fun.
This is wacky. And he had a connection with Heidi Fleiss, and I'm always interested in that because she moved here to Las Vegas. And you'd watch the local news, and there was a period of time where it would almost seem like it's a weekly feature, like what Heidi Fleiss is up to. And then just has like a house full of birds, and she'd always like be up to a new scheme. I'm like, oh, I wonder how all of her birds are doing.
That's funny. Yeah, I picked up Skinner. I haven't watched it yet. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I'm excited to see it again.
Yeah, it's on my stack as well.
Get to it.
Okay.
Next up, I had I think I tweeted that this is a Stephanie Crawford movie through and through. It's written and directed by a lady, Diana Curies, I believe her name is. Obviously, she's French since this movie's French, but it's called Peppermint Soda. And with that title and this cover that they have, I just couldn't. Like, I've heard it was a coming of age drama, and I'm a sucker for coming of age dramas. Like, as soon as you say it, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So it's a very cute and I don't know if it would work with today's standards, but this is, the 70s and French with, these young teenage girls. It's basically just these friends that are growing up in the 60s. And it's just a coming of age story about, love and romance and even political like satire stuff that's happening. Just follows them around within this, small time frame of them going back to school. Like, it starts off with them from the summer, like the last day of summer, going back to school, dealing with, meeting new people, new teachers, falling in love, falling for people, dealing with your parents, and eventually going back into the summer. Just a very cute and quirky movie. Very well done. Cohen Media put it out, so I was always happy to pick up something they release because they have this weird. It's kind of like a Criterion label. It feels like Cohen Media Group is, but they did a beautiful scan of what is that?
Or kind of like Image.
Yeah, totally. It's just they do a lot of good work, and I always think it somewhat goes unnoticed. But yeah, a very kind of cute movie. I was very happy with it. Made me laugh. But it is, I will say, it's a little awkward to watch because it's like the French didn't give a shit about like how girls were dressed. So there's a lot of almost nudity in the film, which is a little awkward these days. But, if you get into the movie, you kind of just look past it. There's nothing graphic, nothing's shown. It's just weird when, for me, I was watching it. My girlfriend walks in and I'm watching some French 70s movie with girls running around in the locker room in their underwear. She's like, what the fuck are you watching? I was like, look, it's this movie. It's a manufactured Blu-ray. It's nothing off the internet or something.
It's French. It's art. I swear.
Yeah, it was kind of a awkward, funny exchange, and then she watched it with me and ended up liking it. But yeah, it's a very cute movie. I think a lot of people would enjoy it, and especially you, Steph. So
Why me especially?
you have like your taste is all over the place. That's why I think you and Brian Sauer make a good team, because you're both all over the place. You like trashy shit to like romance to art house. You're just all over the place. But this film kind of has a lot of just of that era in the 70s. It just has a lot of what I think that you would like in a movie. From what the conversations we've had of the things that you do like in movies, this seems like your thing. So,
Oh, nice. And that led to a compliment. I appreciate that.
And that goes to Brian Sauer too. I think this would be something he would love too. So, Sean, cool. You would probably hate it and fall asleep. So,
no, I like stuff like that too. Come on. I have a classy and a I have a classy side and a trashy side. So speaking
What's that movie? I thought of that poster. Is it like Angel when she like A+ student during the day, hooker by night?
Great, yes.
Yeah.
That's an awkward movie too now because
oh yeah.
Yeah. No, but still it's still a fun series. So
well, I have been collecting the MVD Rewind collection. Pretty much every release I have gotten. So I've been trying to make my way through these. I think I have a couple of them to talk about tonight. But the first one I want to talk about is Nemesis, starring Olivier Gruner. Olivier Gruner, directed by.
If it ends with an R, it's usually an A pronunciation if it's a French name.
Yeah, Olivier Gruner, directed by Albert Pune, and I love Albert Pune movies. Most recently, the movie Cyborg is fantastic, and he just has, I don't know, there's something about his movies. He has this kind of energy to them when they're done well. And Nemesis it's a very basic kind of cyberpunk, Terminator type, cyborg action flick. And, but the action in it, and especially like the gunplay, like these guns like dish serious damage. And I love it when, you have like a rain of bullets and it has like damage on everything around and people blow up into little pieces, and it just has a fantastic action sense, and it kind of scratches that itch with these R-rated, late 80s, early 90s kind of sci-fi flicks. But I was thinking back, I was like, all right, I need to kind of talk about the plot, and I can't, it's one of those films, like I don't really remember too much about the plot other than he is supposed to kind of arrest or kill someone, and then he ends up being chased by the police himself. So
bam, you got a script.
Wow, that is good, man.
But it's a fun ride along the way. But I for the life of me, I'm like, and there's like 3 more of these movies. There's 4 Nemesis movies.
There's 5.
5. Wow. I
think Albert or Alex only did 4. Dustin Ferguson 5th one, and it just came out. I was just fucking. It's Albert, bro.
Alex is the main character. That's why I said Alex. So whatever.
Yeah, Alex Rain. Yeah,
that's
so
why.
So you didn't know what you're signing up for, man. You have 4 more movies. Now.
I know. I'm in. I need to. I almost need to rewatch this to see what the hell. Try to get the plot down, but I think it's a pretty basic plot.
Well, I mean, it's also a ripoff. I mean, it's a total ripoff of RoboCop because right. Alex Murphy, he's a cop, and he gets blown to bits by terrorists, and then he's rebuilt as a cyborg. And then he basically it's people hunting down a cyborg because they're gonna give all this I don't know, documents or something.
It's all just so
to terrorists, computer terrorists, and to kill the human race, and then it ends up to be like battle and everything. Yeah, it's just a basic movie. That's from what I remember, dude. I haven't
all
seen
pretty
Nemesis
derivative
since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I remember liking and I enjoyed 1 through 4 when they came out. But he was always a fun director up until, I guess, like I would say the late 90s.
Yeah.
I think Machine Guns was the last movie that I really enjoyed, because that was kind of his tame. And he made, like, he was getting off all these movies in like the 90s where they were like these huge like sci-fi action movies. And then he did that movie with Burt Reynolds and like was it Ice? I think it was maybe Ice Cube was in it. It was like Crazy Six, I think it was. But he had that Mean Guns with Mario Van Peebles and Christopher Lambert, and they did that. Kind of just a buddy action movie. It was a lot of fun. I really like Mean Guns. But yeah, he was always a fun director. He had a lot of cool shit that he did, especially kind of like in the. He had that Radioactive Dreams that's unavailable with the guy from Christine that plays Arnie's friend, who directed that horror movie Touristas, John Stockwell, and then he had Michael Dudikoff. And that's a movie. I guarantee you, Brian Sauer probably has a poster of Radioactive Dreams above his bed. That's a Brian Sauer movie through and through. And he did it like Dangerously Close, which is that badass school movie where the guy wants to be part of the group in school, and they do these like crazy setups like to kind of kidnap people. Oh man, that's a good movie too. But anyways, yeah, Albert did a lot of great movies. But he totally lost his touch, I think, in the late 90s. And I just can't. He also, dude, he did that. I had no idea. I think it was Phil from Fangoria. He mentioned to me, because I was going off about how much I love Streets of Fire, and fucking Albert made a fucking sequel to Streets of Fire. I had no idea what it was about. It was that Road to Hell. And
I keep hearing about it.
Yeah, and apparently it premiered at Fantastic Fest, like when Fantastic Fest first started, and it's just a terrible piece of shit movie, but it has like 3 people return from Streets of Fire, and it's a Streets of Fire sequel. Wow. And
is one of them Rick Moranis?
Oh,
that would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
I'm because Albert Pune's first movie was The Sword and the Sorcerer. I'm so shocked that has not come out on Blu-ray or even DVD.
Damn.
Because that's like his most successful film, and I'm like, what the hell is up with that? Is it lost in like rights hell or something like that? Like, probably. Was it Universal Pictures? But even Universal, you'd think they would release it because of all the. I'm just surprised that movie's been lost, just lost to time, because
possibly, man, there's countless movies like that.
But it's the fucking Sword and the Sorcerer that came out around the same time as like Conan the Barbarian. Like, that was a huge movie when it came out, and I'm just shocked that it hasn't kind of got a resurgence on physical media. It's ridiculous. I can't find any. I have a because the DVD's out of print, and I have like a rip of it. That's an awful rip of Sword and the Sorcerer. But man, someone, hey, we know the labels listen. We know the labels listen to us. So hey,
gonna be announced next week.
Well, Kino Lorber, come on, you guys would have a hit with Sword and the Sorcerer Collector's Edition. You would.
True. Yeah, I watched a found footage movie by him.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was. It's a dash cam found footage movie. Wow. And it was made like way before like found footage was getting big. Because after the last broadcast and Blair Witch came out, there wasn't a ton of found footage movies. But like in the mid 2000s, they started making them again, and he was one of the first ones. And it was this weird, super boring car, like police cam dashboard movie, and it was just so fucking boring. Can't remember the name of it, but I know you directed it. But anyways, all right. I want to hear what Steph has to say now. Does she have another one?
You?
Yes.
Oh, I never watch movies. Okay, you know what? This is an embarrassing late to the party choice, but I know there are some other late to the party kids out there. So this one's for you. I'm going to take the bullet.
Do it.
I finally, and I know I've been hearing for the better part of a year how great this movie was, how much I need to see it. But I finally saw the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh, nice.
So I'll keep this short because it's pretty well talked about. But I finally sat down, watched it, and thankfully it was absolutely worth the hype. I didn't have a great idea. I didn't know anything about the plot, which I appreciated, just like what I could glean from the title. And I wasn't sure what the tone would be. It's that kind of cover where it's very stark. It's like a white background and kind of a startling center image. And that tends to hint to you that's going to be on the extreme side when it comes to gore.
Extreme.
Right. That just seems to be the trend. So I kind of assumed it would be a little rough. So I need to be in a certain mood for it. So I sat down and watched it. And what really took me was the relationship. It's a father and son coroner team. And the dad is Brian Cox, who I love. And he's not really disillusioned or anything. He's just been doing it for decades. He's seen everything. He's showing his son the ropes, but his son is trying to edge towards doing something else. But the great thing is he's not like, whatever, dad. Seriously, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. And they have a really realistic relationship. It feels very lived in.
Yeah, they may have some great chemistry together in that movie.
Yeah, and to me, that always heightens the horror so much, because when they're just obnoxious people who so many times you're just not really with families, obviously, but with friends, you're like, why are these people friends? All they do is argue. They're miserable. I don't buy that they would be hanging out together, and I don't care if they die. Sorry. I know they're not real people, so I don't care. But here it really feels like a real relationship. So we see this beautiful young woman. Her body gets dug up, very strange circumstances, and she comes to them, and she's a clean corpse. She looks perfect, like she was dipped in plastic almost. But she had been through severe trauma, and as they go through her body, weird stuff happens, and it's I just love. I'm a sucker for horror movies that are pretty much one location. They might do like a flashback to a different location. They might run into a little side room, but 90% of this is in one room. And it's, I think just the mix of it's genuinely very scary. It takes its time, but it's never slow or boring. It feels like they made the most out of every minute. It's on Netflix right now. I'm really glad I finally got to it. And it's a decently scary movie, but it's not so extreme it'll bum you out for the night.
It's not Hereditary extreme.
Right. Yeah. You won't feel like emotionally winded and just feel like a puddle on your couch afterwards. It's fun. It is fun.
No, and that's what I was surprised at that too, because I was like, I had fun with this film and I was expecting it to be this kind of dour, try to be scary and haunting, but it was a fantastic blend of all
I'm
of
telling
that.
you, it's because of the cover, the stark background and like seeing a beat up corpse on the cover. No, it was really good. And I thought it respected the audience, it respected its own characters. And yeah, I'm just really glad I finally got around to it. So if you're like me and you're late to the party, don't feel bad about it. Don't let these cool guys like Sean and Brad make you feel bad about it. It's okay.
I never make anyone feel bad if they're late to the party. I'm always the one who's late to the party, so I never let anyone feel bad ever for not seeing a film.
I like to hear people enjoy movies.
Yeah. I love it when someone's experiencing a movie for the first time. I'm like, oh god, I would love to re-experience that film, especially if it's like a film I love. I get excited for them. I wish I was hanging out watching it with them because I love watching movies with someone who hasn't seen something and seeing their reaction, and that's like I put myself in that.
Sean just stares at you the entire time.
I have to do that. If my friend is with me and I put on a movie, I had to keep myself from just being like, huh? Just looking at him repeatedly. Like,
what do you think? Cool, is that right? Good? You like that scene? Is a good scene, right? Yeah.
Or like, a good scene's coming up, so you're just staring at them.
I make it subtle. I don't look right at them, but I make it subtle. I definitely kind of out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, I can't wait to see how they react.
All right. So I have one that I really like this movie, and it's really? Pretty much on my really. Wait, is it Sean's turn? Fuck it, I'm gonna go. Yeah. This comes out on Blu-ray, I think, in April. It's streaming on like Vudu and on demand services right now. You can wait for the Blu-ray. I think IFC Midnight's putting it out. Runs a clean like 70 minutes. It is so good. It's called Pledge. And it is about these three kind of loser type characters who are going around to kind of rush week to pledge at certain fraternities, and no one wants them even in their vicinity. They get kicked out of parties and everything, and finally they get invited from this girl, hey, why don't you come by this party later? And they come by and they realize that it's kind of, they're doing some pledges there. So they stay for the party, and they, the guys there at the fraternity are saying, hey, well, you come back tomorrow and we'll do this thing. Well, when they get there, they get in some deep shit because this fraternity is not like every other fraternity, and they are kind of assholes and torture them. And what it actually turns out to be is fucking great. I would consider it a horror film, of course, but it is a little bit more than that. The characters are fantastic. The villains are fantastic. Just an all-around really fun movie, and it runs very, very smoothly. I was very, very happy with it. I watched it actually with Willow, and she enjoyed it quite a bit too. So, watch Pledge, buy it when it comes out or rent it. But I think it's one of those movies. It's very reminiscent to how good Brotherhood was a few years ago, but also kind of how Brotherhood was kind of ridiculous. But if you want a perfect college bro horror night, watch Brotherhood and Pledge, and you won't be disappointed.
So not to do a cheap plug or anything, but I just recently rewatched the Tales from the Crypt episode I'm going to be writing about soon.
Oh.
About fraternity. Is it anything like the Will Wheaton and Meredith Salinger fraternity episode?
Remind me what happens in an episode.
Spoiler alert, everybody.
Oh, no.
So they go to supposedly haunted house for the last night of their pledge to make sure they make into the fraternity. And for one, it turns out there's a guy getting a revenge that he got kicked out and they made fun of him. So he did a little scare, but then it escalates and it turns out the sorority that Meredith Salinger is, they're like ghouls. And they're like, they eat the dudes at the end, basically.
So
great.
I'm trying to remember that episode.
Man, it has like a Deloise kid in it. It has Courtney Gaines from Children of the Corn in it. It friggin' has everybody.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I'm drawing a blank on that episode.
Okay. Well, Pledge sounds cool though.
Yeah, Pledge is really, really good. And also, if you've never seen Brotherhood, check that out too. I think Pledge is a better movie because it's a little bit more realistic. Like the stuff that happens in Brotherhood's kind of crazy, but I guess there are true stories that are absolutely kind of dumbfounding to realize that they actually happened. But yeah, Pledge is great, and that ending is just fucking icing on the cake. So watch it. Yep.
Yeah, it's out on April 2nd. If you shout Scream Factory, whatever IFC imprint, blah blah blah. Speaking of Shout Factory, I finally got. I've been waiting for this film for such a long time to watch it. It had been on Amazon Prime, and but I wanted to wait till the Blu-ray came out. I'm a huge fan of Watership Down, and I love downer more adult oriented animated films. So when The Plague Dogs was announced, I was all about it, but I had never seen it before, and I'd seen Watership Down, and I knew that this was by the same filmmaker. So it was by the same. I think it was by the same filmmaker. Yeah, same director, Martin Rosen, and so I got the Blu-ray. It had been delayed because they were kind of searching for. They wanted to release kind of the director's cut, and they were searching for elements, and so they had delayed it, so it finally came out. And if you like films like Watership Down, if you don't mind a downer film, man, this is it's such a good film. I wish that there were more kind of grown-up oriented animated films like this. There aren't. I can't think of any that are out like this, where you see a poster and you're like, oh, that's a kid's film, but then you watch it and you're like, oh shit, I need some scotch right now because this film is depressing, but it's dealing with animals.
What year did it come out?
It was 82. So
yeah, that seemed to be the era of the 70s and the early 80s.
Yeah, you're dealing with these two dogs. They're at this like research facility. They're basically test animals. And they're in this research facility, and this one the bigger dog, what they test with him is how long he can stay underwater before he passes out. And then this little dog, this little kind of I think he's what is he? What kind of, my cousins had a dog like him. Anyway, no, it's like those, oh gosh, what is it? They're those little dogs. They have a ton of energy, and I can't remember what they're called right now. Anyway,
Pomeranians.
Not a Pomeranian. Jack Russell. So he's this little Jack Russell, and he has some sort of bandage on his head. So he's obviously had some, experimental brain surgery. So they escape, and it kind of follows them as they escape, and as they're kind of out in the wild for the first time. They're timid of humans. They think they're gonna. But they're trying to find. They want to find a master, and then in the meantime, through a freak accident, the Jack Russell blows off a man's head with a shotgun, and then they're hunted, and because the humans think they could have like some sort of plague or something, and it kind of follows their journey. And this thing is a fucking downer. Wow. But it's such an incredible, just seeing a film like this, it's such an incredible experience to kind of go through this journey with these dogs, and really like you really kind of feel for them. Like you're just, I don't know, it's just like with Watership Down, it's just you feel for these animals, and you're really invested with the story. So if you haven't seen it, I'm not sure if it's on Amazon Prime right now, but the Blu-ray looks amazing. They released the kind of unedited version. I think they used some other elements. They may have used kind of VHS to splice in maybe not VHS, but they used a lesser quality kind of to get the unedited things spliced in, but it looks fine. They did a really good job with this, and if you love these types of films, I definitely would recommend that you pick it up.
Cool. read a graphic novel called We Three by Grant Morrison by
I
any
have
chance?
I have not.
Okay, so it's not a comic book series. It's just one single graphic novel. It's not too long. It's about these three animals, a rabbit, a cat, and a dog, who had been tested on, but to the point where they're like armored and they have weapons and they end up escaping, and the military is chasing them, and they're kind of trying to find this nebulous home. And the military is chasing them because they have all these weapons on them, and it's like a sweet little dog who can like fire missiles basically. And it's such an unusual but very, very cool and sweet story. And you describing plague dogs reminded me of We Three. So
It's
I
got me
would
inspired for
recommend
that
that.
for sure.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
would say so. Absolutely.
We need more of these films. I don't know where they would end up because we're so um with films and stuff, our society, as far as mainstream society with films, it's so like saccharine or watered down or just the lowest common denominator bullshit gets put out to the masses. And I don't know if a movie like this would do well, but there's got to be a home for stuff like this. I'm just surprised because I was a huge fan of like the Don Bluth animated films because those, unlike Disney, those kind of seemed a little more dark and dingy. Like The Secret of Nim is like one of my all-time favorite animated films, and there's been nothing that has kind of tapped that. There's been a few. There was that Owls of Ga'Hoole film. I forget the name of it. That got trashed
Legend of the
because
Guardians.
yeah,
It's pretty good.
it's really fucking good, and the animation's dark and awesome, and it got trashed because it was Zack Snyder, and then Owl City had a single in the film. Who gives a fuck? Like the movie is really really good, and then there's the movie called was it called 3 or 6 or something like that. It was some number.
9.
Was it 9?
Yeah, 9.
The CGI one?
3,
I'll get there.
6.
3,
There you
6,
go.
9. I'll get there. I'll get there.
It's a multiple of 3, probably.
But that one didn't do well. But that one was such a dark film because you're basically watching these reanimated little puppets after all of humanity's been wiped out. Like I love stuff like that, and there's just not enough of that. I guess it's not marketable. I guess people they don't make any money because those films didn't make that much money. But um, I love stuff like that. So if
You
anyone
know
has
why?
if anyone has any recommendations, if you know of a animated film that kind of treads those lines of dark and really well animated, or at least there's some creativity there, like let me know because I'm always jonesing to find more of those.
Jonesin.
Jonesing.
All right, Steph, what you got?
I'm a dad. I don't say the coolest things.
I know. That's why Steph should go.
Oh. I'm a little torn on what to talk about next. So
Okay.
I will go with the horror choice, as this is the Screamcast.
Yeah.
And Brad and I talked about Lucio Fulci during our Shaunless episode. And since that conversation, I ordered and received and watched The Psychic from Mr. Lucio Fulci, which is done by Scorpion, and you can get it on roninflix.com. It's Flix with an X. I think Diabolique sells it as well, but that's their direct selling. I've been really impressed by their output lately. I also ordered Giallo in Venice recently before they sold out again.
Ugh.
I had never heard about that movie, and it's like gone through 3 printings already. Is that like giant underground movie or something?
No, it's just how Code Red and or Scorpion are kind of marketing it. No, I mean it's
They don't usually do that though, but yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm a big Fulci fan, but I haven't seen everything. And what's really fun about him is that he did almost every single genre. And this is one of his more restrained ones, more giallo feel. I would say this is incredibly restrained, especially since for a lot of people, you say Fulci, they think of zombie, they think of terrible things happening to eyeballs. This one is it's about a woman. She's clairvoyant, and she starts getting very foreboding and terrifying visions. She finds a corpse in the wall of her house, and then she kind of has to figure out what the hell's going on with that. And I would say first impressions, it's probably not going to be in my top 5 from Fulci. But I was so intrigued by it because he's just so, I guess he's kind of a wizard at pacing, and I don't know if people usually give him a lot of credit for that. When things are really insane and kinetic, I think he's wonderful at tapping into that, but I think he's also wonderful at building tension in a way where you don't completely lose interest, but you kind of get lulled into a weird, comfortable setting where you almost feel sleepy, not bored, but kind of sleepy. And then next thing you know, someone gets thrown off a bridge or something, and you're right back there. But it's well balanced. And so this is definitely a quieter Fulci. It's very stylish. And it might be, okay, I won't go completely all the way by saying it might be my favorite soundtrack to one of his films, but it's top 3. The opening song, I'm gonna like add that to my phone so I can listen to it all the time. One of his best soundtracks. It's gorgeous. So yeah, if you do appreciate when Fulci's a little more chill, a little more restrained, he has his handful of movies that are very stylish. This is one of them. I would recommend it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
No eyeball torture though, so if that's your thing, sorry.
Brad, are you there, Brad?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm listening. I completely agree.
Very nice. I'll have to check that out. I'm there's a lot more Fulci I need to watch as well. I need to kind of take some time and kind of go through his lesser known films. And I've seen a lot of people talking about that the Psychic Blu-ray lately. And
yeah, I've been catching up with him, but I'm not in a rush either.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has things that haven't been released yet, but he's just someone I kind of enjoy. I've been lately on kind of a jag of discovering 2 to 3 of his films a year at this point, and then revisiting the ones I've seen before, and that's been great.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, and you compare it with Two Evil Eyes with Argento's Black Cat.
Oh.
Very segment. Nice. And it's I think that'd be kind of a cool double feature.
Awesome. Brad?
Yes. Do you want me to go again?
Yeah, you're up, right?
Oh, yeah,
I have 2 more movies. I have 2 more movies to talk about. I don't know how many more you guys have on your list, but I have 2 more.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even want to go there.
Remember he talked about the sad animals? Sure did.
I talked about sad animals. Now it's Brad's turn.
All right, let's see. Out of the million I have, I watched Arizona, directed by Jonathan Watson, stars Danny McBride, Rose Marie DeWitt, and Luke Wilson.
Oh.
I was a little intrigued by this movie because I heard how dark and violent it is, and also it just being a comedy. I enjoyed it, but I felt that it should have went one. I feel like it should have been a straightforward, more horror, I guess, and suspense. So it's set in 2009 during this housing crisis in Arizona, and it's about a single mom who sells homes, who is just kind of having a shit time because she's trying to get her life together. She's, obviously a single mom trying to support her daughter. And she goes into the office one day, and there's an angry homeowner who confronts her boss and ends up accidentally killing him in the process during a squirrel outside, I guess you could say. I like saying that. A little fist fight outside ends up killing him. And so he kidnaps her and tries to figure out what to do in this situation. Like, how can he get away with this? He, claims it's an accident, but every time he tries to fix something, it just gets worse and worse and worse into this huge bloody mess. And if you told me like this is how the movie ends, and I'm sitting there seeing it from the beginning, I would have never believed you, because it just gets so fucking crazy. But it is violent. It is very violent. It is dark. It is funny at times, but I just feel like they should have went like full comedy, or maybe had comedy but turned it into horror. And maybe they didn't turn it into horror because he was doing Halloween at the time. Like Danny McBride was doing the Halloween movie. So I think maybe they kind of pulled back from it, it seems. I don't know. I just kind of wish they went full on like horror towards the end of the film, because it actually has this really cool setup. It's basically this empty housing development, and he's stalking these people through the houses, and it actually gets pretty suspenseful at times, but it's just always Danny McBride cracking jokes. So it's like, this great synthy soundtrack, some great lighting, him hunting him down, and then, it's Eastbound and Down lines or something. And it's like, he says something funny, like, "Oh, there you are, you jackrabbit." And it's like, oh man, that kind of ruined it. I was kind of hoping you'd be more serious, but it's fine. Do
you think he has serious acting in his body? Do you think he can do it? Has he done it before? Danny McBride. I feel like he can. Seen. But I don't think he has yet, really.
But I think this would have been a good opportunity, because he kind of is intimidating in the film at times. But yeah, it seems like the comedy tries too hard. Like it's like, oh shit, we're in too deep. Let's throw a joke in there, and it just doesn't land. But then it also takes you out of the horror element. So I don't know. It's fine. If it's a rainy day, you should watch it.
So, what would you compare it to it tonally, if that's possible?
I don't know.
Is there anything? Because I'm trying to kind of get a beat on it, because on one hand it sounds interesting to me, but on the other hand it sounds like it might be kind of a mess.
Check out this review by Glenn Kenny from the New York Times. Arizona is a nihilist garbage fire with a fake female empowerment bow on top. He didn't like it.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't say it's fake female empowerment. It's no, the movie's not trying to achieve anything like that. It's just, I mean, it is, but the thing is it gets really fucking mean at times. Mm-hmm. So it's jarring, because you're watching it and, Danny McBride accidentally kills somebody, and then the next scene he's just beating their face in with like a brick. And it's like, oh
yeah, it might not be for me.
And then the next one's like, oh, accidental kill. Oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you with I'm gonna shoot you in the fucking face, and then the brain goes everywhere.
It's like, man, it didn't know what it wanted to be, it seemed, or it did know, but it was just like, this is a little too dark. Let's throw some comedy in there. So it is really all over the place. But there's a good movie buried in there. It just didn't do it, But anyways,
interesting. All right. Well, I'm going through the MVD Blu-ray series again. By the way, little rant on MVD Blu-rays here.
Read them to filth.
When I get the movies now, and if there's a DVD that comes along with it, like say like Nemesis, for some reason, I think it's CAV. Is it who makes it? I don't know if it's CAV or whatever. CAV. Well, whoever creates these things, they're putting the DVD on the right side, and they're putting the Blu-ray on the left side, and they're covering up the Blu-ray with a poster.
Oh,
so it was like,
that's not really CAV, because
drives me crazy. Whoever they distribute. Whoever creates these, okay? So
CAV distributes everybody, though.
Yeah, they distribute everybody. But whoever actually creates,
it's probably MBD idea of constructing them.
Whoever manufactures these goddamn things. So I'm like, it was late, so I put in Nemesis, and I'm watching.
Talk about Nemesis,
and I'm like, this is the shittiest transfer I've ever seen on a Blu-ray. What are they doing? And it turns out I was watching the DVD. I had no idea because the DVD was hidden under the fucking poster.
Jesus.
MVD, don't do that. Blu-ray on the right so we see it's the Blu-ray, okay? All right? Now, luckily, with Shadowbuilder, there's no DVD. And I don't know why we're still putting out DVDs anyway. Just do one disc. Do a Blu-ray. Everyone has Blu-ray players now. It's been out for like 20 years by now. God damn it. Rant over. Shadowbuilder. Have you guys seen Bram Stoker's Shadowbuilder?
Years ago.
This movie is awesome. It's right up my alley. We got the religious horror. You got Michael Rooker playing he's like a priest, but he's also a badass, and he's hunting down some shadowy demon guy because he hears that it's looking for the soul of a boy. So he tracks the demon thing to a town and finds the boy, and there's some dark history there, and yada yada yada. And there's some really bad CGI, and it's great. So that's my review and synopsis of Shadowbuilder. I have no idea how it's related to a Bram Stoker story. I didn't get that at all, but I loved it.
Wow.
Michael Rooker and
I'm just gonna leave that review that way and not even say anything else. Stephanie, what do you have?
I had a lot of fun. If you like this kind of stuff and you don't take movies too seriously, watch it. It reminds me of like stuff that would be on like HBO late at night or on a like a Tuesday at like 11 p.m. They're showing Shadowbuilder.
So you know who everyone seems to pretty much know is great, but I've only recently discovered.
Yeah, who is that?
It would be Charles Bronson.
Oh!
So for whatever reason, as a little girl growing up, I just didn't encounter a lot of Charlie Bronson.
I'm the same way, Steph. You're not alone.
I've only seen a couple. I've only seen a couple Charles Bronson films, and I've never been that big of a fan.
Yeah,
I think actually... Charles Bronson's gonna happen. Don Johnson with me. Like I was like, man, why would I watch anything with Don Johnson? And then I watched the Don Johnson movie, and I'm like, fuck, I'm obsessed with Don Johnson. And I think that might happen with Charles Bronson.
I have I've bought almost every single one of Charles Bronson's movies on Blu-ray. I just haven't got it around to watching them yet, which is the story of my life. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Charles Bronson.
I'm just glad I'm not alone. That Mill Creek set came out recently where, they crammed like 5 movies onto not a lot of discs, but I had a lot of fun diving into that, especially the early Walter Hill movie and everything. And that kind of got me going. And is it Scream Shout Factory? They just did 10 to Midnight.
Yeah.
But I previously got that from Twilight Time during a sale. And I love that because it really is like half police procedural, half slasher. And just seeing him hold like a weird homemade dildo machine just kind of made my day. So see 10 to Midnight if you haven't. But the movie I'm going to talk about is Murphy's Law, which I guess isn't on Blu-ray yet, which is strange. At least not here in Region 1.
Wait, isn't Murphy Law in that pack of Charles Bronson movies?
Mm-mm.
Oh. I thought it was. Because I picked something up with Charles Bronson. It was like 4 movies, and I thought that was one of them. But anyways.
Well, now I'm
so how was it?
My entire life. Well, okay. So when it comes to screen presence, Charles Bronson and Burt Reynolds, they're not exactly twins, all right? But both have something I love, which is,
Mustache.
they're heroes. God damn it, Sean. Yeah, the mustaches are good. They're heroes, but they're very flawed, and they'll let themselves get hit in the face. They'll let themselves trip over stuff. They'll let themselves be hung over. That's really important to me in an action hero. I really appreciate that. No, it's not in the Mill Creek set, Brad.
Oh, okay.
Scare me like that ever again.
I'll have to pick that up.
So Murphy's Law, it's about a cop. He's very copish. He knows what he's doing. He's tough and he's rough, but a woman, which is so cool, that he's sent to prison. She gets out, and she's like, well, nah, I'm just going to immediately get my vengeance on him. And she is nasty. She just one by one cold-bloodedly kills every person's life. And this movie is kind enough to really set up their characters, make you like them, and then you'll just watch them die in cold blood. And he gets handcuffed to a different lady criminal. And it's so bonkers, but it's everything I love about action movies, especially in this time period where I don't know what it is, because on one hand they're so stupid, but on the other hand they know what they are, and if you really sit down and think about it, they're well written, they're really well thought of, and this one specifically had a lot of twists in it I didn't see coming, but it's also hilarious. And I mean, like guns being taken out, pizza boxes, it had everything. So yeah, I've just been having the best time with Charles Bronson.
This was a Canon film,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
So yeah, and it stars along with him Kathleen Wilhoit, who was in Witchboard. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out trivia. That's all I'm doing.
No, that people love I love trivia. No, she is great. She's the one he gets handcuffed to. And one of my favorite things about the movies was she would just insult people endlessly. 80% of her dialogue was insulting people, especially cops, but they were the weirdest insults you've ever heard, and they were mostly snot-based. I think at one time she called a cop like, yes, snot dinosaur, and like just the weirdest insults I've ever heard. And the drawback is there's a lot of homophobic language in this, which you might be thinking, well, duh, it's an 80s action movie, but it's a little beyond that in this. It felt like the screenwriter was kind of maybe needed to work through a few things before he just kind of put that ugliness in here. But if you can kind of recognize that as being shitty and dumb, and it's being said by people out of ignorance and in stressful situations.
Yeah.
I don't know, like when I get in these moods, I don't know if there's these kinds of movies are just like, I don't know, candy to me.
I'm down. I'm looking up some of these quotes. Do you guys want to hear this interaction between the two? Okay. Now this is a great little interaction, and not only does it have, like, he actually says the title of the movie in this whole interaction.
Oh, that's a great moment. Yeah.
And he goes, "The only law I know is Jack Murphy's Law. That's very simple. Don't fuck with Jack Murphy. You remember that." And then she goes, Arabella McGee says, "You snot-licking donkey fart." And he doesn't say anything. And then she goes, "What'd you do? Rape a nun?" And he doesn't say anything. And then she says, "Kiss my pantyhose, sperm bank." And then he just still doesn't say anything. And then she says, "Why don't you watch your asshole?" And he doesn't, still nothing. And then she says, "Hey, pubic hair, I'm talking to you." And then he just still doesn't say anything. Like, that's the internet. And then another insult is...
not just him not saying anything. It's giving her, like, the half-witted Charlie Bronson look.
Right. Some other insult she has is dildo nose and butt crust. Butt crust.
the entire movie. It's not like, she's got her goofy phrases, but she comes like a cool ass kicking woman. Like, it's like she gets shot. She's like, you know.
She says,
ball beating.
She goes, suck a doorknob, you homo. I guess another one of those lines. It's like, what the hell? Who wrote, like, somebody had like an insult book. The writer must have this insult
They're
book
just highlighting
that he like that when he's
man.
like in 5th or 6th grade, him and his buddies would be down at the playground making up insults, and that's what he used in this film, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think, Brad?
Right.
Is that a fair assessment, Brad?
I don't have anything to say on behalf of that.
All right, you butt crust. What do you got, Brad?
I recently picked up a movie, this is also streaming on Netflix, I believe, called Await Further Instructions. I really, really like this movie. It's pretty rad. It's about a young man and his girlfriend. She is not white, and he goes to his family's get together on Christmas Day. Or Christmas Eve, they arrive. Obviously, his family is a little racist, and they say derogatory things just in general. Make her feel uncomfortable. He obviously does not have a good relationship with his father or his brother, and obviously the brother's wife, who's pregnant. And he has a decent relationship with his mother, though. So things kind of get heated that night, and he goes to sleep, and they wake up the next morning, and the whole entire house, whenever they open a door or a window, is this black hard substance, and on the television monitor is basically telling them to await further instructions. So while they're in the house and being basically held there, they can't get out. They can't break the black substance. They can't do anything until the television tells them what to do. So, the first thing they do is like, okay, well, fuck it. Let's, just eat Christmas dinner, because obviously something massive is happening outside. And then like instructions come on the television that the food is contaminated, do not eat it. So it makes them go through all these things, all these cycles. And this movie turns out to be fucking crazy. Like, it is like the last 20 minutes of this movie is just pure, like, these kids saw some Cronenberg films when they were little, and that's what they set out to do. Is they wanted to make Cronenberg happy and proud, and I imagine they would. If Cronenberg saw this movie, and especially the last 20 minutes, he would be very, very happy. But it just gets just crazy, and the special effects are outstanding. Some of the stuff that they did at the end of this movie, I'm like, shit, man, that's fucking old school, like, 80s kind of gags and stuff, 80s, but they did it very, very well. But it's just pure insanity. It's so good. And it's a nice thing too, because it's very tight. It's obviously one location because they're in the house the entire time. It's got it's very, very well done as far as a horror movie goes, and it's something new too. So yeah, I would recommend. I saw a lot of people watch it after I was tweeted about it one night, and had a lot of people come back and say, holy shit, that's actually really, really good. So I was really happy that people are digging it. It's a very...
I was gonna say, where can people see this? Is it on Netflix or what?
Yeah, you probably had me muted in the beginning. It's on Blu-ray from Dark Sky, and it's actually streaming on Netflix.
Dark Sky, okay. I missed it. Sorry about that.
It's okay, yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm just making sure. I was trying to make sure people can watch this thing. That's all.
Yeah, the nice people.
Yeah. So, and also it's a Christmas horror movie.
Perfect.
Not so much the Christmas side to it. I really they could have picked any day. It could have been Thanksgiving. It wouldn't have mattered. There's no Christmas about it other than a Christmas tree, and they're there to celebrate Christmas. But yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's like people are like, oh, Christmas horror. It's like you don't really notice it's a Christmas movie at all, but
okay.
People like that. So there you go. There's like a Christmas movie there. So
nice. Yeah, I'll have to watch this. This looks really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I think you would like it because it's kind of lo-fi science fiction. So
awesome. Very cool. Speaking of lo-fi science fiction, I watched this little science fiction film. It was released by Arrow, starring Kevin Costner and Waterworld. So I want to talk about Arrow's release of Waterworld, which is, in a sense, like, in a sense, it's kind of ridiculous that Arrow's releasing Waterworld. Like, when I saw they were doing that, I was like, oh, okay. Because Waterworld, while a lot of people like myself, like, we find enjoyment in it, like, it's never been like, oh, this deserves, like, a really amazing release. I'm grateful it got that. And they did a really cool thing where there's been this fan edit that has been circulating all around. They call it the Ulysses cut. And so it was released theatrically, and then there was a TV version where they, for marketing purposes or to get people to watch it, they put in all this extra footage that the director had cut out. He wasn't really a fan of that, but it was edited for TV. So while it had this extra stuff, it still was edited for TV. So there was this fan edit that went around, and people took the regular film and edited in the television, the extra footage, and then that kind of got, circulated through, I don't know, VHS, then DVD, or maybe it was on all torrents and stuff like that. But
Arrow, I know the cut. Yeah,
Arrow basically restored it, that cut, and released it onto the Blu-ray, which I think it's happened a couple other times, but that's not a common thing. Imagine if like George Lucas said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to release this, I don't want to take the time to release the unedited Star Wars, so I'm going to take we'll take the Harmy and we'll put it on a Blu-ray." It's like, but the fact that Arrow did this is pretty awesome, and it's 3 hours long. The Ulysses cut, over 3 hours, and it's a marathon. Wow. I think it took me a week to watch it, because whenever I had time to watch something, it'd be like 30 minutes here and there, because I would fall asleep because I'm doing a lot and I'm staying up late. And but you know what I love about Waterworld is it's one of the last movies, big budget epic movies, to be released before CGI, and you can really tell with the sets and everything. And yeah, the movie has problems, like it's a goofy ass flick, but I love it despite that. And but I think I love it because of the scope of the film. You can tell it everything's on screen, looks fantastic, and there's not that CGI smear, you know what I mean? But it's one of the last truly like epic films to get, with the cinematography without any CGI. So they did a really amazing job with this release. If you're a fan of Waterworld, even if you're not, if it's one of those kind of oddities, this has enough stuff for you to dig into, and it's like three discs and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, the only thing I was a little upset about that release was like they don't interview anybody pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Kevin Costner's up for any interviews. Like he's not going to go back and talk about it.
Arrow's not going to be able to get Costner, but like David Twohy or Peter Rader, like who wrote the film, I think they would love to talk about it, because I mean it's a big flop that is kind of getting its due now. It's kind of weird. I mean, I know that there's a lot of fans of Waterworld. I was always a fan of Waterworld, just because I like movies like that. I don't want to see any movie fail, but there's something special about these like giant fucking movies that just completely just bomb, and I'm not talking about like Adventures of Pluto Nash. I'm talking about like Cutthroat Island and Waterworld.
Yeah.
There's something special about them, and I've always enjoyed. I'm not saying that they're great, but they're really fun to watch because man, like making that movie is just such a huge undertaking. And most of the filmmakers were coming from greatness or went on to greatness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of like this, oh, you made Waterworld? That movie bombed, but how the fuck did you make Waterworld? Like at the same time, it's interesting. So.
We don't get that too much these days because I mean, the movie I would think about kind of on par, like similar to this, like where a lot of money was thrown at it and it bombed, was the Mortal Engines that's coming out on Blu-ray finally. Not finally, it's really quick because
even like John Carter of Mars was
right. John Carter of Mars
fucking bomb too,
Yeah, but those have a lot of CGI, so like people don't really care about the making of because it's like, oh, that was all done in computer. Like, there's not that there. It's a weird
Waterworld. They filmed in a fucking pool.
Jesus. No, I know. Like Waterworld. it's people want to talk about it because it's like that. Every set was being flooded, breaking. Like they had so many problems during the filming of that film.
Arrow didn't think that maybe someone wanted to talk about the movie.
Yeah.
Come on, Arrow.
Yeah.
I was a little upset about that too. But it's even like Kevin Reynolds is still alive. He did that movie that you really liked that you talked about a few years ago on the show. That's how ridiculous my memory is, by the way.
That one movie I really liked.
Yeah, it was I don't know, you always like biblical bullshit. It was a biblical it's about that dude who tries to find Jesus or some shit.
Risen?
Yeah.
Risen. Yeah, Risen's pretty good. It's, if you like that kind of stuff.
But I guess I should say Robin Hood Minute or Minutes.
He did kind of Monte Cristo.
Thieves was Kevin Reynolds.
Oh, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves! I love that film. See, that's a good Robin Hood movie.
Same fucking director, man. It's Kevin Reynolds. So, but anyways,
awesome. All right. Stephanie,
do we want the?
What's that?
Should this be the last round?
I am done. So yes.
Okay. This will be my last one. I wrote about this at Daily Grindhouse, and it's actually been talked about a lot, but I feel like I should give a quick shout out to Horror Noire. The documentary, it's a Shudder exclusive right now about the history of Black horror. And it's very lauded right now, and deservedly so. But just in case, for anyone out there who missed it, it's absolutely worth your time. It's a great primer. It starts pretty much at the birth of cinema, how Black people have been portrayed, and quickly that goes into genre, and it pretty much goes decade by decade. The interviews are wonderful. The setup is really interesting, and I think they did a wonderful job getting a lot of information in there, but making it really entertaining, because there's a lot of funny moments. I just think it's one of the best produced horror documentaries I've probably ever seen, because sometimes they can just get maybe a little too inside baseball or a little too nostalgic, in love with themselves. And I feel like this was there's a lot of love and passion in it, but they're able to look at every single aspect of these films. And I just love it. So it's on Shudder, Horror Noire, and I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I agree. It's really good.
I need to watch it. I need to carve out some time to watch it. Everyone's talking about it. I'll get to it. Awesome. Well, we will put a pin in it here, and I'm sure Brad has like 50 more to talk about, but we will hit those up on the next What's on Your Doorstep episode.
It's gonna just pile up even more.
I know. So next episode, we will be doing our first kind of theme episode of the year. We are going to be, I don't know what it's called, the episode, I think is what we'll call it. We'll be talking about the Unborn 1 and 2, as well as the unnameable 1 and 2, and I think we'll probably squeeze some more things to talk about in that episode as well. So. Looking forward to that. So we'll see all of you. We'll talk to all of you next time. I need to give a huge shout out to Wolfman of Mars for providing the music, and grindhousevideo.com. If you need to check them out, if you need to buy anything, go to grindhousevideo.com and see what they got. As far as other sponsors for the show, I'm kind of going to be reevaluating the sponsors. I've had the same things on that site for so long, and I need to kind of talk to a few people and kind of see what's going on with all that. So I'll be reevaluating all that stuff. Go to screamingpods.com and listen to all the other great shows on there. So a lot of fun stuff. Splathouse is still doing stuff. Brad, what's going on with the SOV pod? Are you the Adventures of You and Mike Delaney and Shot on Video movies? Is that still happening, or is that kind of what's going on?
It is
what's going
still happening, Sean. Just like how this show's really hard to record, so is the SOV pod. So
yeah,
but it will happen eventually. We do have 2 movies lined up: Suffer Little Children and Hell Roller, that we have watched, and we will record soon. Cool. But with my schedule and his schedule, it doesn't really line up too well. But we are planning a comeback episode, and hopefully we will be doing it regularly, depending on what happens with my life in the future.
Nice. And Stephanie, what's going on with you? What are you working on? What podcasts are you appearing on?
Every podcast.
Everything. Pretty much every film podcast Stephanie's on.
Oh God.
Let us know.
That's hurtful when people say things.
We're just jealous. I'm just jealous.
No one's jealous.
That's it. 100% jealous.
No,
you're in demand.
So like we kind of mentioned, I'm pretty regular on Just the Discs with Screamcast veteran Brian Sauer. We just did Mikey and Nikki and Crimson Peak. So that'll be coming out not long from now.
Awesome.
I don't know. Yeah, just people ask me and I do it. But Brad's not going to bring up, so I'll bring it up. He is getting some tag-alongs this year at South by Southwest.
Oh,
that is true. Yes.
We're going to have a fun South by Southwest podcast episode because all of you we're going to make it happen with all of you who are going.
Yep. Stephanie is going to be tortured by the hot sun and standing in line for hours and hours and hours at a time.
Please, I live in Las Vegas.
See mediocre movies.
It reaches 120 here in the summer, okay?
Oh, then never mind. You'll be fine. But yeah, it's Jordan Vicks, Jordy reviews it, and Stephanie will be going to South by Southwest. So we'll be
we're girling it up.
Having more ladies at South by is a plus, just because everybody knows that fests are, as Captain Marvel has said, there's too many boys in the theater. So thankfully,
yeah, eat it, Pat.
I thought that was
outnumbered this time.
I was like, when that happened, I was like, she's not wrong. Like, have you been in a fucking festival or a screening before? It fucking smells of BO. Like, come on.
Oh
man, you're gonna scare Stephanie.
That'll be the struggle for me.
No,
Stephanie and Jordan to be like, fuck this.
No, that's the cool thing is that I've been going to
the BO. That's the cool thing. I know what I love about film festivals. The BO.
Because it's real. You're in the moment. It's real.
I started going to Fantastic Fest like 8 years ago. And I would say it was 90% male when I started going. And I would say at this point, it's a good probably like 60-40. I think it's, women are, especially Fantastic Fest, being more comfortable, which is, kind of a huge step because of everything that happened.
Yeah, they had work to do.
But I see more females now at.
Don't say females. It's weird. Say women.
Okay.
Women, Brad. Women. Strong, beautiful, bold women.
Yeah. I see a lot more ladies at Fest now, so it'll be nice to have a couple more, especially new ones that have never been before, to see how crazy South by can actually be.
Awesome. Yeah, this is my first film fest in any capacity.
Wow, then you are in for a treat, because this is about as rough as it gets.
Yeah, when I'm around big crowds of people, I tend to just start screaming, like I can't control it. Do you think that'll come up at all?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. That'll be exciting for everyone.
Well, that'll be great.
We're gonna have some good footage for you, Sean.
That'll be a great episode. We'll have to figure out if we'll have to get our schedules ready, because we'll have Jordy joining us. So we'll have to kind of get our schedules together so we can bring you all together, and I'll just sit and listen to all of you talk about how awesome South by Southwest is. And so that's awesome. So, all right, well, that's going to do it for this, the first official, no, I'm just kidding, for the second episode of 2019 of the Screamcast. So I thank all of you for listening. Club Scum members, big sloppy kisses to all of you. I know that we've been kind of absent, and but that is going to change. So, like I said, I think there's under 25 Club Scum members right now. So as of now, when my next when my horror audiobook comes out called The Fetishists, you all will get a copy of that audiobook, but also we will be doing some kind of fun little extra episodes, late nights and stuff like that for Club Scum members. It's our Patreon, patreon.com/scream_cast. Check that out and become a member of Club Scum. And also, there's a few of you, I've had these sitting on my desk forever, but I keep forgetting I have some buttons and stickers to send out to a few of you members who upped your pledge to $5 a month. So those are coming. And those of you in Australia, you guys are killing me. You know how much it costs to send something to Australia? Like just a little package? It's ridiculous. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
But I do this stuff because I love you. So thank you.
Yeah, but like Steph said, stickers can pay rent.
They can.
So maybe
and these
they
are
can
good stickers. These aren't like crappy printed out stickers.
Oh yeah,
these are nice stickers.
I invest in some good shit for the merch for sure. Speaking of stickers and stuff, you can go to screamingpods.com, go to the shop or the store, and you can buy little stickers and mugs and stuff if you want to help support the show that way. There's also stuff for the other some of the other great podcasts on the network. You can buy some merch from them, support those shows as well. So that's it. We're going to keep on rambling and not even close the show out. So we'll talk to all of you next time. Bye-bye.
See you.
Oh, don't tell me you're leaving. The party's just begun.